I'm Natalie.
I'm Kristin.
And I'm Hannah. Welcome to the Stride Sisters podcast. On today's episode, we are excited to have Kristin, aka RunFitMama, join us. We discuss what to do when your primary race weekend is over, and then get into a fun game of Would You Rather. So, lace up your shoes and step into the magic with us. The wrong channel. I was doing the but that's Nickelodeon. What's Disney Channel?
Hi, my name's Natalie and you're watching Disney Channel.
Whoosh.
Make the wand arm motion.
We made the same thing simultaneously. Good job, us.
It wasn't even planned.
The princess nerves have us on edge. Yeah, I don't have a training update because I'm just so full of nerves from actively looking for a house that I haven't even had the capacity to tell myself, Hannah, you're anxious. Exercise helps with anxiety. Go do that. But also we've been like talking to lenders and our real estate agent and like doing stuff after work and going all day every day on the weekend. So there's not been time for much, to be honest. We went so hard with our realtor the other day that we almost forgot to feed ourselves lunch, and we got to like 3 p.m. and neither us nor our realtor had eaten, and we like looked at each other and we're like, we're all dying, right? And so we went to Zaxby's because it was just down the street, had emergency Zaxby's in like 20 minutes or less before we went to the next showing.
What a time.
Chaos. Absolute chaos. So tell us about your training. I'm sure it is more than me running from house to house. Not literally. That probably would have been better.
So here's the thing. Different levels of chaos called the weather going on up here in the Great White Midwest. Because it's snowy and cold, and it's like the groundhog woke up, saw his shadow, and decided to choose all the violence he hadn't chosen at all this winter. And so it's been very, very cold, icy, and the like. So I'd like to pose the question of, is snow shoveling cardio or strength? I have a strong opinion on that, and it's not just to make myself feel better about not running.
Should we see what the poll results were? I saw you posted the poll.
Oh, yes.
Do we want to do that at the beginning or end?
I'm gonna, like Dora the Explorer, give you like a second to respond in your head and like prepare your argument. But I have to go to my archive because it's been over 24 hours since I posted that and find out the results. Suspense. Okay, so 66% of people said cardio and 34% of people said strength. Now, my overarching feeling was that it was cardio because you hear about different types of snow and you hear about heart attack snow, which is really, I think, densely packed snow that you want to be very careful about. So that makes me always think of cardio. So also, like, our snow is not super duper dense, I guess. I don't know. You'd have to ask Mr. Natalie because he's actually done more of the shoveling than I have. But we tag teamed it over the weekend to just get because it was so cold, to get the driveway done faster so that we could just be out of there. And then, a snowblower will happen for next year.
I voted for strength, actually, not cardio in your poll. And my argument is that it is functional strength training because it is an activity that you do in your life. So it is functional. There is bending, which is a thing you have to do and want to continue to be able to do as you age. You want to be able to tie your shoes and put on your pants and stuff. There's also lifting, just kind of like...
So it's mobility.
Yeah. Well, there's mobility. You got to be able to twist. You got to be flexible. But depending on how much snow you put on that shovel, those shovels get heavy.
They do.
And you're doing that and you're tossing. So like, it's kind of like a bicep curl or like a lift. It's a squat if you're bending and lifting and using your legs properly. So I fully support that. I think it is functional strength training. We will have to message Kristin to get maybe the final
vote on it.
decision on someone who's actually qualified.
That is true. But yeah, that's about all I've really done in terms of exercise of any kind because pretty much since we all last spoke, it has snowed and been icy. And even like the idea of getting up and going to the treadmill at my work has been kind of tough. Actually, I did do a little bit of strength training in my basement. Let me give myself some credit for that. It's just really kind of light on the cardio. Yeah, yeah. I have like a little home gym in my basement. I'm like, oh yeah, I haven't done anything. Yeah, okay. You
It's
know,
easy to forget. All the days blur together. You think about the things that were like big, events in your life. Usually the things you do routinely, like working out, you just like forget that you even did those. Sometimes I have to go through my watch to actually remember, oh, yeah, I did do things this week.
or my stories, honestly, the Instagram doesn't
Mhm.
lie. I've been running my mouth a lot, I don't know, running through my workload before I leave for vacation,
Mm.
that's about it. So, if you're in this boat of like, well, hay's in the barn at this point if you're listening on drop day because of how close we are to Princess Half Marathon weekend, if that is what you're training for and is your next event. Hay's in the barn, so no point to go do like 20 miles today. Not gonna make up for anything.
20 miles would probably be overkill anyways.
True.
But all right, no injuries, I take it either. We're both like healthy, ready to go. Oh my gosh, don't say no.
Okay, okay,
Ah!
okay, okay, okay. I'm monitoring some just tightness on a foot. I'm
Okay.
monitoring tightness. So not really at the point where like pain or like I've completely been avoiding running. It's just I'm monitoring some tightness
Mm.
and
Have you
being
tried the
careful.
foot and toe yoga yet?
That no, but I've been rolling my little rolly ball and that's
That's
helped. It's just tender. We're tender.
okay.
And it's not the same one as I had an issue in the fall with. It's my other foot on the outside. So I've just been being cautious, but definitely has changed what my plans are for this upcoming weekend. So,
Okay.
and where I do this cutesy little thing where I'm like, I'm not really trying to like really race and whatnot, but I bring my super shoes. And it's like, really, Natalie?
Yeah.
Really? I mean, they're still coming with me,
Um,
but I have plenty of suitcase space, but
yeah.
I think that we're lollying is
Yeah.
potentially the plan, but who knows how things are gonna go.
I don't think I will be running in my super shoes. I think they have finally bit the dust after marathon weekend because now they've been through multiple marathons, multiple half marathons. They have for sure made it past their mileage mark. And I'm contributing that to why my feet hurt so much during dopey versus how much they hurt during training because I really didn't wear my super shoes for training runs
Yeah.
this cycle. And my feet hurt so much worse. Granted, there's a lot more miles when you actually do the thing, but I think my shoes are kaput. I think a new pair will have to be purchased for the next season.
Yeah. That just made me think of I don't know how many miles are on mine.
I mean, they're definitely less than any of my training shoes, but super shoes are not meant to go
The
to the
distance.
400s and stuff like other shoes. They're meant to go like maybe 200 at the top end.
Yeah, I think officially or at least since I've been fully tracking, I have 112 on mine, but I used them for 1 or 2 training runs before that, under 15
Mhm.
miles both of them, so I'd say I'm around, like,
They're
let's
getting
say I'm at
close.
130. Yeah, I know you get
Yeah.
a max 200 out of them.
Yeah, but I think I can feel it in them unfortunately. So they're done. They're done. All
My
right.
goodnesses.
As we said, we are only 2 days away from Princess Half Marathon Weekend 2025. Go ahead and download your photos from last year. I'll save Natalie from being the broken record this time. If you haven't downloaded them, do that. This is also a subtle reminder to me to download my friend's photos from Marathon Weekend, who has asked me I don't know how many times if I could download them because their girlfriend is like really getting on their butt. So maybe I will remember. Download your photos, people. Download your photos.
Yes, because if you are somebody who purchased, like, somebody, who are like, "Donate to my charity, and I'll download your PhotoPass stuff to you," that lasts as long as their AP does, right?
Mhm.
So, before Hannah was a pass holder and I grabbed hers, I can still see all of her princess pictures from last year from the race. Hannah's pictures from, like, the trip
Mhm.
are gone. Those go in 45 days
Mhm.
at Walt Disney World. At Disneyland, it's different. So keep in mind if you like you're just regular, and Hannah and I are obviously connected on My Disney Experience, so like being friends on My Disney Experience, those pictures, if you're not a person who has PhotoPass, those disappear in 45. If it's attached to the AP holders bib, like they have your bib under their account, that'll last a whole year. So what I'm saying is rag on your friends if they haven't given you your photos yet, because Hannah's usually used to have to do that. Be like, hey, I'm like, well, I know I get your race photos for a while, but okay, I'll just sit and download them all.
Yeah.
Okay, the reminder's not for me this time. I downloaded all of them in December. The
Oh,
only thing
so
left,
proud.
the only thing left I have is our mini moon from last year. I haven't downloaded all of those yet.
You better get those. You don't want to lose those.
Oh, I won't. We can't be losing Mr. Natalie's ride on Tower of Terror.
Especially since it's probably never happening again.
Exactly. Oh, don't worry. That I can tell you for sure is downloaded, saved, shared, but it's the whole like other stuff of, the whole suite, I should say. As I usually say.
All right, we've got 44 days until Springtime Surprise Weekend 2025. Have you secured anything last minute, Natalie?
Not yet.
Okay. We have 198 days until Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon 2025 and the new season begins. Proof of time for that race is due by April 1st, 2025. Get that in. We're getting closer and closer. So if you need a last minute race or whatever to get that proof of time, or you haven't put whatever you already have in, there's your reminder. We have 247 days until Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend 2025. Congratulations to everyone who has registered. I did not.
Nor did I.
Your shirt deadline is March 26th.
Thank you, Travis.
And your proof of time deadline of May 1st, 2025. We have 323 days until Marathon Weekend 2026 with Club Run Disney registration on March 4th, 2025. Get ready. It's coming real quick as soon as Princess is over. And general registration is on March 11th, 2025. Make your commitments, people. Figure it out. Get ready. This is exciting.
This is a foreshadow. Whoo.
The most intense registration out there, right there.
Screaming, crying, throwing up.
Tell us about the Disney news instead. It is minimal, but we have some.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the theme park related news actually related to Universal this week, maybe with some different previews on food for the Epic Universe. So that was kind of neat to see, but I am not going to lie, I'm not informed enough to really do anything but read an article title and say, looks good. So a nice source you can find some news, dismornings.com. Our friends over at the Monorail put together all kinds of those little guides. So check them out for Universal news, as well as Disney news. But a new popcorn bucket themed after Prince Charming's Regal Carousel debuted at Magic Kingdom on the 13th of February. So if you're headed down to Princess like we are, she's out there. She's there. She's beautiful.
I saw someone in a Facebook group today that bought 3, and I had mixed feelings. I'm not going to be buying one. We discussed the house and the saving and all that. But when people buy more than like 1 or 2, I start to wonder what their purposes are. It is the sneaky, jaded side of me.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's like they got 3 kids or they got 2
Probably.
kids and a sibling who loves the carousel. I haven't bought a popcorn bucket in a long time, so this one is, assuming I remember, does fit my fancy.
I'm going to make sure you remember because I want it so bad, and you better get it so I can live vicariously through you.
Okay, I guess.
Just
but
like I bought that sign at Marathon Weekend and you get to vicariously live through me, you are buying this popcorn bucket if it is available.
That is true, because then we're gonna figure out how to transport one of those marathon signs for next year home to Nebraska for Natalie, so, by way of the Hannah Express.
Yep.
But it looks really, really beautiful. I, freaked out when I saw it, so very exciting.
It lights up, it plays music, it moves.
and Walt Disney World got it. Usually, the cool
Mhm.
stuff goes to Disneyland first.
Iconic. It has a little tiny sword in the stone sword on it. I mean, I don't think it moves like the real one could theoretically, but still
Mm,
so cute.
I'll find out. Actually, speaking of Disneyland for a little bit, it seems like the attraction featuring Walt's animatronic, the opening date was supposed to be around May, but they're gonna push it back to July 17th, which is the 70th year anniversary of Disneyland opening. So,
Oh.
that's exciting. I like a good symbolic moment. Take a situation where you're behind on construction and turn it into some lemonade. But that'll be kind of cool and exciting to see, even if I am not on the coast where I will see it, probably. Following up on previous talks of jelly rolls, the last day of operations for jelly rolls on the boardwalk will be on April 19th of 2025. RIP.
Not much time left.
No, no, I've never been. I know my older brother, I think I don't remember between dueling pianos and jelly rolls, but when we went like 7 years ago and I was going to take him to get some food on the boardwalk because because I had the Magic Band, and I was like, "Oh, I'll join you." Walk around a little bit, and he went in, he's like, "I wanna see what the club at Disney is like." And then he walked right back out, not because it was, like, late, he was just peeking in to see, if he could, but, I'd like to maybe go in. Well, I can't promise you that that's gonna happen, though, this trip. Um, but RIP in peace
Mm.
to an icon, a legend. I haven't heard anything yet about where the relocation of Jelly Rolls is going to be, just that the rumors are still super duper strong, if not almost 100% confirmed it won't be on Disney property anymore.
Sad, sad times. Get it while you can.
Indeed. Indeed. Another piece of news is that if you had gone into Springtime Surprise and you were hoping for the water park after party, it's been canceled. And you should have gotten an email with your refund. So bummer. It's not the
Yeah.
weekend because some people post and they're like, "Wait, what do you mean the
Yeah.
weekend got canceled?" No, just the water park after party, which was a separate paid ticket, that got canceled. On the speculative side, I don't know if maybe Typhoon won't be ready to reopen by that point, because
Mhm.
usually Typhoon opens the week before Springtime Surprise and Blizzard then goes down.
Mhm.
That said, also in the speculative
I mean, I
area.
think that's pretty fair because, like, right now, if you look at the schedule for the park, both of them are still closed that week.
Yeah. I
Both of
think
them.
I think they're trying to figure out what's going on. But I think that we will see both of them open this summer if they have sufficient staffing.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the big thing it's been hinging on this whole time, is that because what I'm hearing is that the water park with like, if you are on your arrival day water park benefit,
Mhm.
is that the water parks, or that Blizzard, has been crowded to the point where this past weekend, people were being directed to park at Coronado Springs because the
Whoa.
parking lot was full. The parking lot was full, and it wasn't us runners. But I think that if that keeps up, I think it is generating the interest in the water parks. I think if they can
Mhm.
get the sufficient staffing, that I think they'll have them both open for the summer, or it's just me trying to delusionally hope that they will have both of them open at the same time again, so I can,
Yeah.
like, hop to one and then the other.
Did you know, little sidebar, it's related, I promise, that I have delusionally considered applying to be a lifeguard at Disney because, I used to be one, just so I could be considered a cast member again for discount purposes. Because I could drive down. They don't really require, like, you can set, like, someone at my job does this. She's a mom, she has kids, like, she is still technically a cast member. I think they require her to work, like, a couple of weekends a year or something. I have no details. None of these are promises of real things. Like, I don't fully understand the situation, but I have contemplated.
I think I've heard stuff like, and with seasonality, I mean, I'm
Mhm.
gonna need, like, somebody. If you are an ex-cast member and you're listening right now and you're telling us to shut up, I'm sorry. But I think, just in talking to some cast members, that there are some that, like, seasonality where, like, you have your other job, or you're in school still, or you're going back to school or whatnot, but I have heard some stuff with that. Um, that is, yeah, that would certainly be something. You'd have to get your Ellis back on.
Mhm. I was a good lifeguard.
Can confirm. So was I.
Yes.
I'll just own it.
Okay, back to news. My tangent was long enough.
Love it. There are going to be, for Flower and Garden, there are 2 new booths that are themed to the Yacht Club and the Beach Club that will be joining the lineup. Very exciting. And because I don't think we've ever seen resort flavored themed flavor. There's going to be
Flavored.
well, there's going to be food, so flavored things before. There's also going to be a new topiary inside Communicore Hall, and Phineas and Ferb will have topiaries for the first time in forever.
I've seen the previews.
They look so good.
They do.
I'm excited. All right. Fun fact time.
Whoop, whoop.
This one hand selected. On February 18th of 1903,
Whoa.
George Givet, the voice of Tony in Lady and the Tramp, who's the Tony's Town Square owner, is born. Where was he born, you ask? Omaha, Nebraska, baby. I have no shame. That's the only reason I picked that fact. So I have a more riveting one. Actually, that's the most riveting, but here's a secondary. Here's the runner-up. On February 18th in 2004, Disney announces that they've entered into an agreement with the Jim Henson Company to buy the rights to the Muppets and Bear in the Big Blue House. Only to 20 years later, not even get to the 21st birthday before they decide the Muppet closing date. It's fine. R.I.P. That Bear in the Big Blue House. I forgot about the association.
That struck a nostalgia chord right there.
It really, really did. I remember the Bear in the Big Blue House where Disney Junior Live on stage is now. Well, that was Bear in the Big Blue House. I remember being in there with my younger brother who was obsessed with Bear in the Big Blue House.
Mm-hmm.
That just went right back in the way back canon. So since, we kind of brought up getting Kristin's opinion on snow, I can't promise we're going to talk about that with her, but we do have some stuff to talk about with her. Hashtag in RunFitMama, we trust.
Always. We have Kristin with us this week.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kristin. I'm RunFitMama on Instagram. I am an online run coach and strength coach. I was a personal trainer in person and still am half the time, but most of my business is now online. And it's so much fun.
And as you might know, Natalie and I are hashtag
in RunFitMama, we trust.
The chaos is spilling over.
The first time you guys, I don't know if you said that on Instagram or if it was like in a True Coach message, but the first time that was like uttered, it gave me, I don't know, such a like sense of self. I was like, oh my God, this is like so honoring. I don't know. Or so like sweet.
I think it was Instagram. I think it was the end of In Summer. And maybe I tagged I tagged the Instagram post, but I might have put my last like In Summer workout going into Dopey to Dumbo as like, in RunFitMama, we trust.
I think you're right, because that was really the first big year that like I was meeting everybody like in 2023, right? And then we went into, or 22, and we went into 23, I think. Was that your first summer?
I was 23 into 24.
I've only known you.
Right? I think that like I might have followed you longer than that, but Karen O'Brien was like, so like, tell me about like the programs and in summer. She's like, you'll love it. I'm like, okay, cool.
I love her because all of her check-in videos for her exercises, she will set up her camera and it'll be like 4 minutes that she's doing like one set of squats, and she's just literally just telling me about her day. So I'm having like coffee and I just sit there and watch.
I love
great.
her.
Yeah. She's so sweet. Honestly, everyone in the programs, the nicest people ever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It is. It's such like a beautiful family community.
Yes,
thing.
Absolutely.
Everyone's so supportive.
Oh yeah.
And you have a new program that just started.
And you might know about
it. Yeah, I might be in it. I might not be, starting off strong, but I'm trying.
Yes. No, you're doing great. It's okay. You know what? It's the beginning and it's really hard because you're coming off of marathon weekend and then now we have Princess. So it was kind of, I feel like with Run Disney, it's really hard to like set aside time for a new cycle in your training. And so, we just have Princess. We just have a half is what I said to my physical therapist. It's just a half. I told her too, I kid you not, like I quoted, this is my quote I said, you have to understand when it comes to the type of insane people that we are. A half marathon, it's like running a 10K. Like, it's really not. We'll be fine. It's
This is
fine.
the insane runner math that is what happens in your brain when you start accepting and like enjoying these out there challenges such as dopey.
Yeah. I like that you said the word enjoy, because that's the thing too. I think
Yeah.
people think of it as like so crazy, or like it's like a task you have to do, but it's like, no, I'm actually like having fun. It's great, you
Mhm.
know? Maybe not the whole time, but most of the
Yeah,
time.
I mean, some workouts suck and
Yeah.
like there's always sometimes where you wish you were doing other things or whatever, but it is so worth all the hard work. The
Yeah.
race weekends are so magical. I mean, we wouldn't have this podcast without it. I mean, we would still Natalie and I would still be friends, but like
True.
there's so many people we've met, so many like this is genuinely when we started this podcast, I was having a really tough time like in my work life and my personal life. All this stuff was really stressing me out and I was working remotely from the other side from the West Coast, from your side of the world, away from my boyfriend. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is the perfect distraction from all those things. The joy of Disney. We're just going to talk about this all the time. Would my therapist agree that that's a healthy outlet? I don't know. But I think, great support system. So glad that we have Run Disney.
I think it's great because it just keeps you looking forward to the next thing in a good way. Like, it's not like we're
Mhm.
trying to rush through our lives, but it's like, oh, okay. Like, kind of like with marathon weekend, you all know what happened, but like in my head, I was kind of like, well, on to the next, right? Like, on to the next cycle of training, the next race. And so it's a
Mhm.
good way to like structure your year. Like, oh, I get to look forward to that.
Mhm. For sure.
Right now I have no structure. Just kidding. I have the Chicago
Oh,
Marathon. But I've
why? You're a wild woman.
yeah, 8 weeks or 8 months, 8 weeks. Oh my god, I'd be dying. 8 months from day of recording, but it's weird because right now I don't have like the set plan of what my like Run Disney year looks like. Like obviously I have a marathon in the fall and it's my first standalone unless I go feral and do a spring one, but I don't think that's happening. But so it's a little bit like of a weird shift in the structure of like, am I
Mhm.
going to do marathon weekend next year? Probably still, probably. But it's like kind of like, like my goal, my A race is not like it, it's first in Chicago. So it's like trying to figure out things and like, oh, like my training, my heavy training won't start when it was because if I wait till July to start heavy training for Chicago, I'm not going to have a good time.
Mhm.
That's not happening. So it's kind of weird. It's like a weird shift in my like no like I'm probably again, there's a lot of probablys here. Wine like, oh, I didn't get a bit wine and dine bib. But
Natalie
like
goes rogue a lot though. So
well, yes. Kristen also got like the whole I'm having such a good summer of training. Like I kind of want to do another marathon. And that's how the goofy bib happened. So like people who might have known before Mr. Natalie knew. Um At least I was able to couch it with it's not dopey. It's not I didn't do another dopey that time. It was goofy instead.
Yeah, it's
So,
just 39 miles.
yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
well, it's just a long weekend.
Yeah. It's
It's followed by
manageable.
Dumbo. Followed by Dumbo.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like there's different things in like the structure where like I don't it's like I saved my probablys of like wine and dine right now I'm not doing and I didn't get a bib, but like I haven't ruled it out completely. It's just it felt like a little much being in this little bit of a offish season of like, oh, marathon and then a half marathon challenge 2 weeks later. Again, I did Goofy to Dumbo last year, so there should be no question in my brain that it can happen. Um, it's more of a should it happen?
But speaking of like, it seems like, we all are in sort of a state of transition, starting new programs, trying to figure out what to do since you have such a long time, Natalie, until your next like big ticket race. What do you recommend to your clients when they get to like the end of something? Like for a lot of people, it was dopey. We talk about the dopey downers. For some people, it may be Princess coming up shortly, or it may be Springtime Surprise. But like, what do you tell your clients when they don't know what the next thing is?
I think those periods of time are really helpful, honestly, because it's sad when that chapter's over because now you're like, what
Mhm.
if, or what if I did it better, or um, but I think having like 4 to 6 weeks where you just kind of have no idea what you're doing quite yet. And going on long walks and like journaling or doing some yoga and really having time. And sometimes that time is only a weekend where you're like, okay, now I know the next thing I want to do. But I think it's a really good time, like a really good downtime to start to miss running, because I fear that when we have all these races back to back, not only, I mean, let's take the injury stuff out of it or just the overall burnout, but mentally we start to view running as like a chore or a job. And so a lot of times when clients will say, oh, I'm kind of feeling like a little lost, I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of good. Let's sit down. Let's like take a breath and let's, for 2 weeks, let's just focus on your strength. And usually like whatever time we set and then we like reconvene, that person is like, okay, I miss running and I kind of want to do this race. So I really think taking a step back and taking a breath really helps you focus. And sometimes too, when you do that and you take a little step back, you think to yourself, oh, I don't really want to go for a PR this year. I kind of just want to run for fun, or, or vice versa or something like that. But I always think like just taking a little bit of a break to do all the things you couldn't do while you were training is also really helpful. Like go to the movies, get a pedicure, those kinds of things. And is all really helpful for your soul too.
Yeah.
These toes haven't seen a pedicure in
Let
so
me tell
long.
you. Oh my God. Every time I go to PT, I'm like, please don't look at my toenails. I'm like, I mean, they're trim, but they're not like, they're so chipped, like old toenail polish and everything. And I'm like, you don't understand. We have to keep the calluses for right now. And she's like, it's fine. But
I used to have the callus. I haven't gotten a pedicure in a really long time, and my toenails are black. So, but I was a competitive dancer in my youth, and there were many rules around the nails. And one of the things that every time I went to go get a pedicure, I had some serious foot calluses from dance, and they would always want to take them off. And I was like, no, 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 no
yeah,
touchy.
yeah, I need that hard armor,
Yeah. I've worked hard for that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I haven't gotten a pedicure since August of 23 before my engagement shoot.
I thought you were going to say for your wedding.
I
You
didn't get
didn't
one.
even do it. Oh yeah, we've talked about that.
So for my wedding, I wouldn't call this a marathon altercation necessarily. So, the whole rain on the marathon of 24. So my little soaked feetsies I dropped a suitcase on my toe like 2 days later. And it was my full suitcase going out to California for Dopey or for Goofy to Dumbo. So that was more of the reason I had, because only the part that got hit by the suitcase was injured and needed to be trimmed off completely. So my foot was not going in a pedicure bowl, even though I trust my lady a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I do trust her, but like at the same time, like I'm like, I don't really want to get gangrene. Like I can't, I'm not like not the exposed nail bed, like, because it
Yeah.
was a little bit of a baby nail. So I also wore Converse on my wedding day under my dress. So
That's perfect.
yeah, no one was seeing my feet anyway.
Yeah.
I put on thicker socks for the reception so I could bop around the reception more. Like running
Right.
socks. Like I had them in my little purse so that I could bop around better.
Yeah, you were prepared.
I was so prepared. Ready for the bit. But yeah, no, I like when she was fighting, she was like, the ladies, like, she might as well bring out like a saw to my foot. Because it was, my first dopey worth of calluses, like a year and a half of calluses as she's like scraping away. She might as well have had a saw.
It's like that scene in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah. I felt very bad for her. She definitely got a very nice tip out of that. And she's like, yeah, it's the running. It's the running. I'm so sorry.
You know what, though? Let's be real. You probably were not even by far the worst. I'm sure there's some triathlon guy that goes in there that she's probably like terrified of.
Honestly, there's probably some average guy who has like toe fungus and doesn't know it that goes in like
True.
True.
Yeah. If you've been to any like 24-hour fitness, you probably have seen that guy that needs a pedicure.
True. Yeah. Me and my little my little pinkies I Irish danced. So the hard shoes did something to my pinky toes where they're kind of just they're like a toe, but they're underneath.
Yes.
It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine.
Yeah.
Point shoe fitter would have a fun time with your feet. Well, we thought a fun way to spend this episode would be to play a game of Would You Rather.
Ooh, I like it.
not too serious, lots of fun
Yeah.
since we're in this transition period.
Love it.
Yeah. So, Natalie, do you want to go first?
Sure. Since this is a topic of the week with Princess upon us, cold or hot weather for Run Disney week?
Oh, cold. 100%. Yeah. I hate
I
being
would
hot.
also, now that I have successfully completed a weekend with being cold and it not being a disaster, I also vote cold. If you had asked me before Dopey, I actually probably would have told you hot because I am extremely heat acclimated here living in Georgia, that I'm just going to keep pushing it. Go listen to our episode about my Chicago marathon experience. It was cold, didn't know how to handle any of that, and didn't fuel, didn't drink, didn't do electrolytes or any of the things properly because I didn't realize what was happening to my body.
Oh.
And so, yeah, I like underdid everything because it
But
was cold.
you know now,
I do know now. So
It's like
now
now
I
you
would choose
know.
cold.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Every
I
long
was really
run.
hopeful going into that race because everyone was like, this is perfect running weather. I was like, great, this is going to be so awesome. Nope. But yes.
I'd also say cold, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because you can't get rid of, you can't like take off certain,
Yes.
you can't
As
take off.
women, there are limitations to how much we can take off.
There's only so much you can do. There was
Like your body's gonna put a little out there, but
yeah. There was a race here. Well, there is a race here every summer in July, and it's called the Moonlight Race, and it's at night. And normally it's hot because it's July, but it's not terrible. But I was going to this race to get my proof of time, and when it started at 8 p.m., it was 1:02.
Oh my
And
goodness.
everything like about myself, I was like, my mom was like, don't do this. Like, please don't do this. But I filled up my hydro vest with ice, which it lasted like 20 minutes. I mean, and that was the only race in my entire life where I was so delusional that I was like, I should just run to my car. No one will know that I just like didn't do this race. It was miserable. And I was like, never again. I will never race in the heat. It's awful.
Yeah. We have a similar situation here in Georgia. We have the Peachtree Road Race. It is
Yes.
quite famous.
Yes.
It is the largest 10K in the whole world. And it's on 4th of July in Georgia every year.
yum.
Sticky.
And yeah, it may not be 102, although it has gotten close. Like this past year, it was in the 90s and
Yeah.
it was humid.
Yeah, you guys
And
have humidity too. So that's the
uh-huh,
thing. Yeah.
they ended up I would say at least half of the waves got out before they canceled for heat.
Oh my gosh.
So like if you got out, then you got out, but if you didn't, then I think most people had at that point. I think it was maybe like the last corral people who were walking.
Oh, that
Um,
sucks.
but yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
haven't run
stinks.
it yet, because we're never in town for 4th of July, but they did just recently announce that they're going to have the polar opposite Peachtree Road Race, which happens, the weekend before marathon weekend. So it's gonna be that first weekend of
Mm,
January,
that's cool.
and it's the same course and everything, but you start at the end and end at the start of the
What's it
other one.
called?
The polar opposite
Oh.
Peachtree
Oh,
Road
it's literally
Race.
called the
Called polar, it's in January, opposite because it's backwards.
Got it. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, and they even include, because it's a city and, like, we have some public transit, although it's, like, questionable, MARTA, and yeah, but they include public transit ticket in your race registration fee because they want you to park, like, outside the city, take the train in, and then run back to your car.
That's cool. More cities should do that.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
All right. Now this might be hotly debated.
Okay.
Would you rather have a really good castle pick or a really good finish line pick?
Um, finish line. I don't think I've had a finish line picture that I really have loved. I feel like they're always at really weird angles, or my sparkle skirt has somehow made its way to like my armpit and I haven't even realized. Like there was one where I was like, for sure my butt was showing in the back. Like I have no idea how I didn't feel it. And I feel like I've had some good castle ones. Like it's crowded always, but yeah, I don't think I have a really good finish line picture.
I am torn. I think finish line photo, because I have more success with my castle photos turning out well. Like, I feel like I know the tips and tricks to get in the line where no one's gonna run behind me, and for the most part, I've figured out, like, what pose looks good from that really weird angle.
Mhm.
So, I feel like I have a better shot at that one, whereas so often with my finisher photos, someone's, like, in a weird spot, or someone
Yes.
else has their hand up, so it's sticking out of your head, or, yeah, the skirt up to your armpits. Like, honestly, the best finish line photo I have is from my very first Run Disney 10-miler, because I literally just wore, like, normal running clothes, like shorts and a t-shirt, no, like, costume really, and I got lucky that there was no one around me when I ran across the line, so I would say finished photo.
Yeah.
I'm really torn, honestly. I think I think I think finish because well, for a while all my castle photos were bad, like in a row. Like it
Mm.
was like weird flash where you can't see my face cuz I'm a ghost. There's like like blurry humidity. Like not a lot going for me at the moment. But now I've gotten things better cuz for a while I was like it's cuz I'm getting to the castle when it's light out. I need to my goal was then get to the castle while it's still like at least darkish and then
Mhm.
like get here while it's dark um,
Mhm.
before they had like taken off any special projections. So I think from there I've like got started getting a lot better of the castle photos. So I think the finish line won. But also the castle photo is pretty iconic.
Yeah.
It
So
is. It is a favorite to share for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
But I always want the finish line photo for that, first photo that I share of like I did it. That or it's
Mhm.
a picture with my medal, but usually it's the finish line photo.
ooh.
So,
I don't know if I've ever thought about what I usually share first. Because I think I usually share the I did it with the paddles first.
So cute.
oh, I don't usually love the way I look in those photos for whatever reason. I don't know if I stand at a weird angle. Like I usually get something, but usually I forgot that I'm still wearing like my sunglasses in a weird spot, or like I've adjusted something, or a lot of the times I've already switched into my UFOs by the
Yes.
time I get to there. So if they take a full body pic, I'm like in all running gear, but then I've got socks and sandals going
Yeah.
on, which is totally fine in Florida, but it's not really what I want to share on the internet
It's just still have
aesthetically.
socks on because you can't be giving the dogs out for free.
Yeah, true. Hmm.
I wish that whoever takes those photos of the paddles, I wish they would be honest. Hey, move your chin, or
Yeah,
this is a
they don't
weird
say
angle.
anything.
Nothing. They're like, here you go. Like it's like you ask some 60-year-old man outside of like Pirates to take your picture. It's like the same thing. I'm like, would you
Hmm.
please just tell me to like move my face a little bit out of the sun or something? But
It's hilarious because, and I'm like holding something for a reference, is a card for Christmas. And I feel like one of my paddles will be turned incorrectly and one will
uh-huh.
not be.
Yeah.
And I've started getting better at like knowing to turn it because the other one will be like facing outward, like I'm showing the person behind me in line. Like, here, I did it. Like, not the camera, but
Yeah.
it's only one wrist though. So it's one at a time. So now I've gotten better about like being like, okay, pull her in. Uh, pull her in a little bit, honey.
So Dopey 23, my two friends from home, they were with me at the finish and it was their first marathon. And I remembered the girl from Crown saying that if you run to like the bottom left of the finish chute, there's always a photographer there that will like take your photo and it comes out so great. And maybe for her, but so the finish line photo is me literally like in an airplane T position with my arms because I'm trying to pull them to the side, but instead I just look like I'm falling or something. It just looks
Oh no.
It looks so bad. And I posted it, I think, on my stories, and I was like, what am I doing? My friend's like, it literally looks like you're grabbing my boobs. Like, it's always a fail.
Oh.
We should just post a whole gallery on like finish line fail photos.
Yes, absolutely.
I need to do a fail photo because my first attempt at a jump shot, it wasn't a trip because it was just one of the ones at Epcot where like, you know, you're in a different way. You're not trying to jump and move at the same time. But like I look like a mime that just got caught doing like trying to like walk downstairs because of just the way that I landed, because I was landed. I was not jumping.
Oh, no.
We did a second try and it didn't turn out much better. So I had abandoned ship. Maybe next year. Well, this was Princess last year, so next year is this week. In that regard.
This should be a new community submission category. So we do this thing called the Blister Brigade, where people can tell us about the blisters they got that week, and we'll name them something fun if they want, or they can name them and we can just like, you know, chat about it. And we also do a community spotlight. We've had our inaugural community member spotlighted. So if you want to, you know, send us something. And we should definitely have a new category for Fridays, which is failed finish line Fridays.
I think that would be really fun.
I think we're really into embarrassing ourselves here at the Stride Sisters podcast. So
you have to laugh at yourself. Otherwise, what are we doing? You know, running is funny. Like when by the way, like everyone knows, you both are my clients. And the funny thing to me is, I think maybe the only time I've seen you on the course, or we've like run into each other on the course, is at the 5K when you look over to see your running coach just sitting on a bench. And I was like, this is embarrassing.
No.
We were like, why didn't we think of that? That's so smart.
To be fair, that line was so long. I was like, why did you want to stand here?
Yeah, when we talked about our marathon recap, we told everyone that we found you on a bench. But the part that we thought was funny was I was talking about struggling to open the heat pack.
Oh, yeah.
And how I tried to give you guys one, and your friend was just like, no. And you had to be like, no, we know this human. It's okay.
Oh my God, that was so funny. I'm like, no, she's okay. She's one of us. I love moments like that. I love when stuff like that happens, but it's always in like the bathroom. Yeah.
It's like, just like the high school dance. Everything happens in the bathroom.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Tears are being shed.
Always. All right, I have another one.
Yeah.
So, because I think you were part of both of these. So, would you rather, so we're talking Dopey 2017 and 2024, have the canceled issue like of a race or like a shortened race?
Okay, so I've never had a race full out canceled at Disney, so I can't say. Okay. However, for me personally, that race last year where we just like cut half, I hate to say this out loud because I would be sad if this happened, but I almost wish they had just canceled it, only because we would have gotten more sleep. But I also hate saying that because I do love the whole show of it, right? Like getting up for the 4 days and the whole thing. I did feel really bad though, because my client / friend, who was actually my neighbor, it was her birthday that day and her first half.
Oh.
And so we were like, you're going to run through both castles, because she was doing both halves on Coast to Coast. And so from the whole thing, like after the 10K, we kind of knew, right? Like it was going to get canceled or shortened or something. And so when it happened, then she was crying and, you know, we felt terrible. So we're in the car the next day going to the half, and we're just kind of like, oh, I just wish they had just let us sleep, blah, blah, blah. And then as we're going underneath the Epcot sign, I like had an epiphany that it was in fact her birthday, because, you know, it's 2 a.m. You have no idea what day it is. And we're like, oh my God, happy birthday. And so at least she did get to run some of it on her birthday, but yeah. What do you think?
I think It's one of those things where I remember I'm usually asleep, like, before I think the official announcement came at, like, 6:15. I know I was at the expo when they started moving the 15 minutes back, where everyone's like, "What does it mean? What does it mean?"
Yeah.
Of, like, the 4:45 start. It's like, "Okay." But I'm usually asleep by then, and I remember looking at my phone like, "Oh, well, thank God I'm not asleep. Because what if I
Yeah.
woke up to, like, pandemonium, I guess, with how I woke up to, like, the bib gate at Marathon weekend? Not
Yes.
that I was affected, but it was like, "What do you mean there are issues with the things?" I'm like, "You know what? I didn't get an email, so I'm just gonna hope for the best."
Yeah.
Um, I remember, like, thinking, like I was like, "Well, this is gonna be a thing of Run Disney legend."
Yeah.
Right?
For
Like,
sure.
and, how we were all going to do the, like, toilet paper across the finish lines around Hourglass Lake, and it's like, "Wait a minute, it's lightning, we shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
But the number of people I remember seeing are, like, running around and, like, I finished my miles at DAC, like, yeah, they were walking, but, like, running around, like, his like, it's like the understanding of, like, "Oh, you get it." Like,
Mhm.
you gotta finish the mileage.
Yeah.
So I think that having even done, like, a little bit, because I kinda regret not doing character stops during that, but they were super long,
Yeah.
because there were so fewer of them. But
Mhm.
I kinda wish that, I don't know, it's kind of fun to have been part of, like, legend
Mhm.
of,
Totally.
like, "Oh, yeah, remember the half of a half in 2024?"
Yes, totally.
But, good times, good times. My bib made it out fine, which that still is shocking. Um,
I
but what a
think for me, it's I have 2 answers. One is specific to Run Disney events. So for Run Disney events, I would prefer for it to be shortened or whatever because I just like, we've already paid the money. I wanna at least experience as much as I can. I wanna get out there. I know I'm gonna get the medal, like, I'll finish the mileage or whatever, but I'd like to at least experience something and have fun, and, like, if it's part of a challenge, I'm gonna wake up early anyways because I don't wanna mess up my wake up cycle or
Mhm.
whatever. I wanna
Yeah.
try and stick to the plan, stick to the schedule. Um, but I think for, like, a non-Run Disney race where typically for, like, a local race or something, as I'm also running those like, I run those for fun too, but I feel like my goals are a little bit different, and also usually they don't cost as much, so I don't feel quite as bad if
Yeah.
it were to get canceled, so especially I think for, like, local races and that kinda thing, I'd rather it just be canceled, and
Mhm.
also for not Disney races, sometimes when that happens, they let you defer to another
Mhm.
year, so,
Yeah.
like, outside of Disney, I would probably prefer it to be canceled, but at Disney, I just wanna, like, get whatever I can.
Yeah.
That just made me think about how my wedding photographer, she was doing a circuit of, like, every half, like, to make sure she did at least all of them once, and then, like, she was gonna be, like, kinda done with the half distance, and that was supposed to be her last half, but I have swindled her into the idea that Goofy's a good idea,
Of course it
and
is.
oh, yeah, because she's
Yeah.
never done a marathon.
Oh,
And she's like,
nice.
kind of seeing you, like, do it, it's really made me think about, like, it being a good idea. So I feel like I have influenced the way I need to of, yeah, no,
Love
it's
it.
totally, she's like, dopey, It's like, Goofy though, I'll think about it. Like, she's like, I think she's thinking 2027. Uh, so
That's
I was like,
dangerous. I might have to use that logic on my lender.
Yeah.
She says she's done, like, 8 halves or something. She loves running. She runs, like, every single day, but she's never done a marathon, and she's always wanted to, but she's worried about her knees, and I was like
Oh, do we have news for you?
I was like, "We can work with that."
Can let me
And
talk to
now
you let me talk to you about your glutes.
so Goofy, and she's
Mm.
already, like, a little indoctrinated into the Run Disney community, so, like and
Welcome.
built-in running buddy because she lives in the Atlanta
Yeah, there you
area.
go.
Mhm,
My friend
mhm.
Lauren, she came with me to Goofy in 22, and it was her first half, and we did that together. And then she cheered me for the full. And we got home, and like that next week, I was like on a walk, and I remember I was texting her. I was like, "Okay, I think for next year, like I'm gonna try to do dopey or whatever." And she was like, that's great, but I'm just coming for the first 3 days. Like, I will never do dopey. And I was like, okay, like I get it. And I go to Princess like a month later. I'm walking off of Toy Story Mania and I get a text from her. I'm doing dopey. And I burst into tears. And she told me it's because she watched the marathon and she thought to herself, I could do this. And I was like, hell yeah, you can. So maybe like send your friends like a YouTube video of someone running the marathon. Yeah, you could do this.
Yeah.
All the bliss.
That's so funny because I remember watching videos of the 2022 marathon and thinking like, I think next year that's the year to try it. I think next year's going to be it. And because I was watching, it was Marathon Sunday finished line, like watching people like they were just live streaming from Epcot from the last couple miles. And I remember going like, oh, and this is before my first half. First of all, I found out somewhat recently, I had screenshotted the dopey plan before my first Princess Challenge. So like there was always like there was a screw loose before, like there's something a little unhinged up in here. Because
relatable.
It happens. And it's so funny that like I just think like, oh yeah, I think I could do that. And that's how that dopey 23, it got us all.
It did.
I mean,
those of us who survived registration.
I was thinking about that yesterday and how insane that was. It was wild.
I've never been so productive at work, honestly, because I was so glued to my computer. I couldn't leave my computer. I was working from home. So I was like so productive because I would just refresh and I had other people I knew who were also. So like I knew that I wasn't going to miss any news of the things reopening. So I was like, I was locked in.
Yeah. Well, so registration's at 7 a.m. my time. And so I logged on and like, it did whatever it did. And it was like 8:30 and it was time for me to like get the kids in the car for school. And I said to Ryan, I was like, they might have to miss school. He's like, he's like, please take them to school. You cannot like, so the entire time I'm white knuckling the car. I'm like Cruella DeVille trying to get them to school. I'm like, get out of the car. I'll see you later. I mean, at this point, like Emma was in like first grade and I'm like kicking her out of the car as fast as possible. And then it ended up not being till like noon or something that we actually got through. But yeah, it was wild. Hunger Games.
I was not a part of that. But at the time when I registered for this past dopey 2025, I was working out on the West Coast, so I also got to experience the like 7 a.m. which is not normally when it is for me because I'm usually on the East Coast. But I was working in a paper mill, and paper mill hours are early. And there's like a morning meeting that they have at like 7:15 because everyone's already been there since like 5. And I went in super early. I got to the mill by like 5:30 because I wanted to make sure I had everything ready. I had my spreadsheet available. I had I had good connection, all this stuff. And I was helping with Natalie, and then the operations manager, which is kind of like he's like the second in command at this facility, walks into my office and is like, hey, how's it going? As I'm sitting in the queue, every single computer screen has the queue on it. And he was like, what you doing? And I'm like, well, this is kind of possibly one of the most important days of my life. And I'm busy. So I'm registering for this race and I'm going to have to miss the morning meeting. And he was like, yeah, that checks out. Okay, bye.
That's so nice that he was so understanding though.
Yeah.
You know? Like that makes for a happier person if you're able to like support them in their race dreams.
Yes, it was very good. I was like, I don't know if someone else had told him ahead of time or if I had mentioned it before that it was something I was really looking forward to, but like everyone on the team knew that like that morning I was basically not to be disturbed because I didn't know if it was going to happen right away or if it would happen like 2 hours later. I didn't know how long I'd be in the queue or if, a friend would get in before me, which is what ended up happening. Natalie registered me, but it was very stressful and everyone was like, yep, we get it, which is hilarious because like the manufacturing of toilet paper and other tissue products is probably a little bit more important to the company, but
I got 6 people in that day.
Oh my
and
God.
I'm
She's
still
a
like
magician.
stressed out about it. Like when I think about it too hard, like I still like get the hot sweats where my boss and I at the time sat like back to back, like not like actually back to back. We had space between us, but I think I think I turned around after that because I was already the thing is it was another time where I was already in because I have Club Run Disney Gold. So with Dopey, it's one registration, you're done.
Yeah.
And I need to go take a lap. I need like a couple laps actually. Like I was like, yeah, 2 Dopies, a marathon, and 3 halves. Because it was just one of those things where I got, and I didn't even get in that fast. Still took me an hour to get in, and I was like, Hannah, go, Ben, go, and then like different. And then to my one of my other bridesmaids, I was like, hey, like, did you get in yet? She's like, no, and we're at Epcot actually. I'm like, I got you. Just give me just send me what you need.
Go.
She's like, can you get my girlfriend in or fiance now? Like, can you get her? I'm like, yeah, I got her. She's like, can you get her out of the front? I'm like, yeah, great, got it. Yeah, I was sweating. I was like, honestly, like dripping sweat in my desk. I like needed a lap. It was so stressful. It was more stressful than when I got like the last minute or the like a random drop of a Goofy bib, where that was kind of stressful too. Where again, like I like turned around to my boss. I'm like, hey, I'm running another marathon. He's like, what? He's like, oh, okay. But whew.
Yeah, if you're new to the podcast or have never run Disney race before or never registered yourself, sorry if we scared you, but like it's intense.
It's wild. I have more of a nervous stomach, I swear, on a registration morning than like a marathon morning. Nothing compares for me to that. Because like even though I know like deep breath, like it's probably all gonna be fine, my heart is like beating out of my chest every time.
For me, it's when I have people, and I don't mind having the role of people relying on me, but it feels so much worse when my queue is taking forever.
Yeah.
When I know that like I'm back up for Hannah or I'm back up for my mom when she's been able to participate. Like nothing makes me sweat more than that. When it's just me, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I guess it's just not meant to be.
Right.
But when there's other people that's like, oh, I'd love to do the Muppet 5K. I'm like, locked in.
I got this.
I was the lucky one for our princess registration, so it did finally fall to me to get everyone in.
Yeah. Shout out to Run Disney for forgetting that I wasn't a platinum member for that one. Because I got 2 early registrations and I used the second one before they could take it away.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Hey,
it worked.
Whatever. Their mistake, not yours.
Yeah.
That's like I've told this before, I think on our podcast, but 2018, when you could still sign up with travel agents, I emailed a travel agent. I was like, I'd like to run the full marathon. I was just going to go for like the weekend. It was my first trip ever being away by myself, away from the kids. And I log in to Run Disney. I'm registered for the Dopey Challenge. And I was like, I emailed her and she's like, hey, take it and run. And I was like, okay. So then I emailed Run Disney and I was like, hi, I'd like to verify what race I'm signed up for because I signed up with a travel agent. And they were like, you're registered for the Dopey Challenge. I was like, okay, I guess I'm running the Dopey Challenge. Like, so.
Wow.
Yeah. That's probably the freest $500 I'll ever get from Run Disney, but.
From the mouse, period.
Yes, ever. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. I'm like,
that's
maybe.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow. That's what an origin story.
I know.
That's
the
so
Run
cool.
Disney gods were like, you are doing Dopey is your thing. Whether you want it or not, that's going to happen.
They indoctrinated you. They got you for this.
Yes. Well, because I ran in 16 and I was like, I'm never running Dopey again. That was terrible. I mean, of course, the 2 days later, you're like, never mind. But the 18, I was like, oh, this will be so easy. It's just the full. Like I imagined like a bagel on the plane and I was just going to run one race. And it was, anyway, well, that changed.
Speaking of the, like you say, people say they're never doing something again. And then a few days later, I would like to say a credit to your amazing training for this race weekend is that my parents asked me right after the finish line, after I grabbed gear check and stuff with Natalie present. So I think she heard it as well. My boyfriend was there. They asked if I would ever do it again. And I said, I think I will.
Yeah. I think
like right away.
Yeah, that for me, like knowing what I know now, the difference of 16 and then all the other dopies I've done, immediately after I was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it again. And even the physical therapist I was talking to today, she looked at me like I was insane. I was like, but you don't get it. Like you train for this, you're easy pacing it. It's so much fun. If you do it right and you feel a lot, you feel kind of fine after. You're like, all right, let's go to Magic Kingdom, you know?
You know, the dangerous thought pattern after that is like, this is how I imagine ultra runners feel. Is like, well, you know, I trained for it. It's an
Yeah.
easy pace. Like, I'm not really like dying the whole time. So
Yeah.
like, why not run 50 miles?
Oh my God. Ryan, my husband always asks me that. He's like, would you ever do that? I'm like, no. Before he even gets it out of his mouth. No. I don't want to run 28 miles even. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think ultra running is in my future. Ben has always said, and this is why we signed up, part of why we signed up for Chicago in the first place, is Ben has always said that he wants to be an Ironman someday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is coming from someone who doesn't own a bike and is not a great swimmer, if I'm being honest. And, you know, like we went swimming together at the gym in the lap pool, and another person in the pool like asked about it. So,
you know what? If you can dream it, you can do it.
exactly. And I was like, okay, well, out of the 3 sports, you can run. So let's see if we can do a marathon.
Yeah.
Check 1, because you have to run. If you're going to do a whole Ironman, you have to run a marathon at the end. So we should at least test that.
Yeah.
I think we might start with maybe trying to do a half Ironman someday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But we'll see.
I had big dreams of doing the Alcatraz swim where you swim from Alcatraz to the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when you're there, it looks like what could this take? 45
No,
minutes?
the current is crazy.
Well, first of all, it's 3 miles. It's not 1 or something like I thought. Or I maybe it's only 1. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it's 3. And I thought it sounded great. And one of my clients has done it 3 times, I think. The first time was great because it was sunny and it was calm. And she was like, it was the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I was like, great, sign me up. The second 2 times, one time she got lost and they like picked her up out of the water. The other time, same thing, the current, and she kept swimming backwards. And it was like foggy. You couldn't see where you're going. And my uncle was like, you do know there are sharks. And I was like, you know what?
There's wildlife. It is an open body of water.
No, thank you. I'll stay in the pool.
Yeah. Nope.
Yeah. But more power to those people.
Where's the line on the bottom?
Yeah.
Give me a scuba tank and you can get me in there, but I don't, nope. Without that, it's not happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. All right. I have another would you rather.
Okay.
Would you rather run the whole race in a character costume? Not just like really fancy costume that we've designed ourselves, like the full costume, like your Minnie Mouse.
Okay.
And you have to run every race for the rest of your life in this costume, or run in boring clothes.
I thought you were going to say naked.
You can never. No,
That's what I thought too.
I mean, we could go that route if you want.
I'm like, oh God, what would be more uncomfortable?
No, you just have to. You can never put on another. Like you can never dress in a costume ever again.
Oh, boring clothes for sure. I think.
Really, I thought that would be so much harder. You only have to run one race in the costume.
Oh. Do I have to have the head thing on?
Yes.
Is it a marathon?
Sure.
Oh.
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, does it make a difference? Is there a distance where you would... I mean, for a 5K, you can put up with just about anything.
Yeah,
probably.
I feel like even for a half, I could put up with it. For a full, I don't know. Can you see out of those head things very well?
No.
I think that depends on which one it is. Some of them is a little better than others. But yeah, it's definitely reduced visibility.
Like, am I goofy? Do I have those big floppy shoes?
Ooh.
I don't know. I said mini. I think mini shoes are a little bit more manageable.
You know what? Sure. What the hell? Oh, sorry. What the bleep? I'll do it. Oh, why not?
That would be iconic, honestly.
Like, we get our hands on one of those heads. Find out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you just can't take it off because you can't ruin the magic.
What if I have to pee? Ooh. Am I wearing a diaper?
I mean, it's gonna. I mean, you probably should. I was gonna say, like, I mean, technically in the porta potty, no one can see you, so like,
Oh
but I
God,
don't think
I
there's
don't
Can you
enough
think
room.
imagine?
I don't think you could fit in a porta potty.
I think even in a handicap stall in the park, which is where I prefer to go to the bathroom during a race, uh, I don't know. I think that by yourself, I think that'd be really hard.
I want you to imagine you're running through Animal Kingdom and you're mile 17 of your marathon, and you go into a bathroom, and under the stall you just see Minnie's shoes. Like, imagine what you're like, what?
I think I was hallucinating, honestly.
Yeah, you're like, maybe I need some sodium. What's going on?
I mean, to be fair, I got hit in the head twice while I was in the bathroom in Animal Kingdom,
By
so
what?
someone who thought my door was like my stall was open, the lock wasn't very secure,
Oh my
and they opened
gosh.
the door, and like, I'm squatting, trying not to really sit on the toilet, but also, and so my head is like my torso is leaned forward, and the door just like opened right into my head twice. Two different
Oh
people
my
did it to
God.
me.
Oh my
And
God.
then I was like holding the door. I was like, not again. Not a third time.
Oh my God.
There will be no brain cells left to finish this race.
It's crazy.
So now I'm thinking of like what would be my like favorite option to run in of different
Which character would make it
costumes.
worth it to you?
Oh, definitely a meal. Definitely a meal. I would have to be
Little rat.
my
Can you imagine his tail though?
Oh God. Just dragging.
Oh, that would be a weapon. That would just
I'm thinking about my German Shepherd's tail. And like I think it would be like that.
like, one would think the answer would be Dopey, but I think Emil would just be iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was gonna go for Remy, and then Emil came out. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no.
I think I would pick Stitch.
That'd be fun.
Ooh.
I really like Stitch.
That would be fun.
Yeah. I mean, the logical choice is that we should pick a character who is human.
Right.
I didn't think that was an option.
But
so.
Like Tarzan.
But yeah, I think Cruella de Vil. We could all be Bob.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would pick Stitch, and I do think I would choose to like try and run in the costume one time if it means I get to wear like whatever after that, instead of just boring for the rest of my life. The costumes are really fun. It's part of the magic.
True. But I didn't know if by boring you meant like cute Lululemon, in which case, then I guess
not even crowned. Like we're talking like
no. Oh my gosh, crowned is not boring.
Yeah.
How?
But like
what?
Oh no, I have my first piece.
What did you get?
But also, the Megara flow.
Oh, cute.
I have no crowned. Do you?
Me?
I think you do. I think I've seen photos. Yeah.
I got another one.
Okay.
Would you rather you end your race, you're all happy, and would you rather discover that you have a giant beep blister, or you chafed?
Oh, I mean, listen. How personal do you want me to get? Because I can be real personal.
I mean, Natalie's talked about her chafed butt cheeks.
So yeah, if you took a shot every time I said chafed butt cheeks, you might be dead.
So I will say chafed because I deal with it all the time, because I've had 3 very large kids, and I pee when I run, and it's very uncomfortable. And so I have to like lube up. I have to wear a pad. I also wear like a bladder sport. Like, it's the whole thing. And like, I wish more people.
So this is why we care about the blueberry.
Yes. And that has significantly helped. But I will tell you, like, it's interesting. So anyone out there, like when you do have kids, and if you do have that problem, certain things will set it off. Like for me, if I have cold brew versus hot coffee in the morning, it's 2 very different outcomes in like your bladder. Yeah. So that's why before, like when I'm in the hotel room before a race, I'll have cold brew and I'll put some like Fairlife protein in it, because it doesn't make me pee as much. Anyway, my point of this was to say I chafe all the time, like around my butt, like you were saying, because sometimes if it's really hot and you've lubed up, it doesn't matter. So I can deal with that like, in the shower, but I don't want to deal with a blister. No. That's my choice.
Yeah. I think I would have to go with I mean, I really wanna say I should go with chafing because I feel like blisters have derailed my training so much worse than chafing ever has. I
Right.
feel like chafing heals so much faster. It is a pain in the literal butt, um, depending on where you get it, which
Yeah.
is the most common. I have yet to find the perfect pair of underwear that I feel like doesn't cause something, so I just, yeah, lube it all up
Mhm.
and hope and pray. But yeah, I think I would have to pick that. I have had one chafe where got it on the inner thigh, actually not from a run, from a hike because I was wearing shorts and it was hot as Georgia is in the summer. And I didn't realize we were going to be out there as long as we planned on being, which, I should just think ahead. That's usually what happens when we go on a hike. And yeah, we were out there for many, many hours. And that's how I found out that I can't go anywhere in shorts without, uh, like lube on my legs. Like,
Mhm.
if I'm wearing shorts, it must be there. The chub rub is real. And that one took a while, and I in the full on summer, I had to wear my Align leggings because they were the only thing that
Mhm.
was soft enough and tight enough to the skin that they didn't, like, move around and irritate it, and
Yeah.
then straight Vaseline on top too, so that's uncomfy. But the blisters, like, derailed me for a whole month this summer because it just wouldn't heal, and I was every time I would try and walk or run, it got worse, so
So, my friend Barb, that is also an admin for Dopey Strong, we talked, I think we started talking on Instagram. Like, I wish there was a button you could say, like, first conversation or something, probably like 2015, like a very long time ago. But then anytime we would be at the same race, I think we were both too nervous to like try to find the other person. And so I think it was like
Felt.
Princess 2018 or something. And we were like, okay, or maybe it was even after that. I think it was Princess 22. And we were like, okay, we're finally going to meet. And I told her, I was like, and it was so humid and I was having that same problem. And it was day 3. So it was the half marathon. And I
mhm,
go to the med tent, which no one was in, like not even someone working there. And I see this giant thing of Vaseline, like wrapped up, like in saran wrap or something.
mhm.
And I was like so desperate. And it was so hot that morning.
Yeah.
And so I grabbed some like Vaseline, like a package of Vaseline, like an individual thing. And there's no one around. I'm looking around. And you know that scene in Bridesmaids where she's like, look away. I swear to God, that is the moment that we met in person. Like she's
Oh.
coming in and I'm like, just tell everyone to look away. But anyway, you're desperate when you got to get that Vaseline.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, every time I think of Vaseline sorry, Natalie, you could go in a second, but every time I think of Vaseline now, believe it or not, it's not me thinking of my own chafing. It's me thinking about before we ever ran a marathon, we started watching all these videos of celebrities who run marathons without training because that made us feel better about the fact that, like, if someone's stupider than we are, then, like, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
It gave us a little confidence of, like, at least we're trying.
Yeah.
And, in one of those, Tom Segura and Brett, Kreischer, I think is how I can't pronounce his last name. Anywho, Bert is, like, actually athletic. It's weird. I don't know how it's possible. But they ran, and I don't remember which one of them. My boyfriend loves these comedians. One of them they handed him Vaseline at the aid station, and he ate it because he thought it was fuel.
Yes. Yes. That happened to Barb also. She's
Oh,
like,
no!
she goes, she thought the popsicle
Don't
sticks
eat
were
it.
like a snack. Yeah. And she said once she had done it, she'd commit. Like everyone saw her do it. So she's like, I have to commit to this whole shtick.
Well,
So it happens.
she's gonna have, some smooth bowel movements
Yeah.
later.
It's a new diet craze.
Better out than in, I always say.
Yeah.
Wow, forbidden snack.
Yeah. Alright, blisters or chafe, Natalie, blisters or chafe?
So I'm kind of torn because it depends on the location. Because inner thigh, so I ripped my pants on my first 17 miler ever. And except I noticed I ripped my pants at like mile 6 or 7, and it was
Kept
enough
going
miles to
anyways.
okay, well, I had to get home, but also I was like, well, I kind of want to finish the half marathon aspect of it. Yeah, I'm going to just do that. And then I changed my pants to go out for the last couple of miles. So that because you can't do anything about a thigh chafe. Like if it's mid square, like you got to put pants on. I mean, to go somewhere, like you can't. A lot of people can't be Donald ducking it around their life. So like, what are you gonna do? Versus like you can pop if you like. I don't know. Like I don't advocate for popping blisters, but when I had Chester, the blister that started it all for my first marathon, I had to pop that sucker because it was the winter in Chicago, so I had to pop him. I couldn't get a shoe on it. I couldn't get a shoe on, so I had to pop him.
Him.
So like I could do something about. I drained him, and then he was put to his resting place. But like I could barely get a shoe on, and that I wasn't in Florida anymore, so I had to do something about it. So it's hard because my normal place is like a bra line chafe. So that I can manage, and that I can at least prevent.
That's painful too, though, and I feel like it takes a while to go away because there's always something like right there.
Yeah. When did I do my 12.5? It was like the first weekend in February. I literally still have a mark from that bra line.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And I felt it developing too, but it was like I forgot. It was like Dopey was over, and I forgot everything about a long run. Like, you need to feed yourself the day before, like better than that. You need to not go out and act like you've been training the same way that you were, because you're not, and you cannot run that fast. So it's fine. We're fine. Everything was fine. It was not fine, but I guess there's more places that you can chafe. So I think
that's true.
But also losing a toenail is really hard. All right, I'm picking chafing.
Yeah. I feel like you can handle everything over this way, right? Like, but like the feet, it's just hard. You have to step on it.
Yeah. The feet's what took me out during or after Dopey this year, where I felt like I was walking on the ground in my UFUs because I had worn them too many days in a row.
Yeah.
And I was like, to my mom, I was like, I can't. Like, I'm out. I'm done. Like, I'm going to change my shoes and come back or go back out. She didn't leave.
Oh, well, this has been amazing. I've had so much fun.
Yes. I love you guys. Thank you for having me.
Me too.
I can't wait to see you.
No, I'm so excited. Princess party 1 week from now.
Yes. All right. Is there anything else you want to plug? Where can people find you? What's your website? What's your podcast? All the things.
You can find me on Instagram at RunFitMama. My website is runfitmama.net. And as Hannah mentioned, we just started Sculpt and Soar, which, what's funny? I didn't realize soar. Like soar fly is how I meant it.
Yeah.
But soar is apparently how everyone's feeling. So that's great. And we just started that. So that's more of like a strength training program. But you can find all of our RunFitFab programs on there as well. And it's crazy because someone just emailed me yesterday, when does Wine and Dine training start? And I was like, oh my God, where does time go? We're talking about Wine and Dine training already. Anyway, that's not till July, but still. And so if you guys have any questions, you can always ask me on Instagram. But I love being a run coach. I love you guys. I just love, like, you guys are the heart and soul, like the type of people you are the type of people that's in Dopey Strong, our Facebook group, and RunFitFab. And you guys make my job like a dream come true. So thank you. I mean it.
And if you haven't listened, Kristin also has a podcast.
Oh yes. We have RunFitFab, the podcast.
So if you don't get enough from like this, plus the Facebook group, plus joining training, all those things, you have that too.
Yeah, we have to have you guys on after Princess. Maybe we could do like a Princess party recap.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd be so fun. Yeah. We've got to talk about like throwing elbows at the expo and all of that. And if any of you guys out there want to come to the meetup Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m., we're going to ride aerial and take a picture all together, and the more the merrier. So come join us if you haven't. Yeah. I can't wait to see you guys.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yay. That's the great part about doing Dopey and then Princess. Because it's like, oh, it's a party. No pressure. It's great.
Yeah, I'm like trying to cop a springtime bib. So I'm working. I'm waiting for charities to do their like not that I'm
the last second.
I'm running Chicago for charity. It's just that's why I don't want to over index myself.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, I'm like waiting for charities to be like last call. I have a challenge bib. Like I have a room. I have ADRs. Like I've planned.
I love it. So if you got a last minute bib, are you trying to do all 3 or are you going to do one race?
If I do all 3, I have a perfect East Coast season.
Okay, that's my only thing that's bothering me. I did not mean to, but I'm doing a perfect season, but I'm only doing the 10K at springtime. So, and I know that like perfect season's like made up, but like,
Yeah.
is it going to irk me?
Well, because I did like a perfect year when my first dopey where I was like everything in 23.
Yes.
So like, and like, I know it's made up,
Yeah.
but like at the same time, be like, well, like I turned 30 this year too. So it's like kind of like, oh, that's kind of neat. And like, that was
Yeah.
I hadn't hit my golden birthday yet. So that was the year of my golden birthday.
Yes.
It's kind of like,
yeah.
So I'm trying to cop a springtime bib. And I know that they're probably not going to take my POT because I keep putting it in, and that's what's slowing me down, and that's why I haven't gotten it. It's like, sorry, it's sold out. But I know that they're probably not gonna take it. But like, so I'll DLS probably. I mean, I might be able to get it for the 10 miler, but like for the 10, maybe if the 10K they tell me to piss off, I'll be like, all right, whatever, I'll DLS.
Well, if you do go to springtime and you do the 10K, let me know if we should like all talk about a costume because I want to do something Hercules-ish. Just don't know what.
Spoiler for
Don't you guys dare do the muses without me.
Never.
Oh my God.
Never.
That has to happen though.
I'm just going to be the like 3-headed monster. Whatever Hercules fights.
The Cerberus, and it starts with 3 heads.
And then it has like
it
a
gets
million.
more.
Yeah.
Maybe a Cerberus starts with 1, but I'm pretty sure it starts with 3.
No, I think you're right. Or maybe I'll be Phil.
It just says multi-headed, so maybe it's more than 3.
Maybe it depends.
All the pictures are 3.
The lore, yeah.
Which one's pain and which one's panic?
That's a good question. Is panic blue?
I don't know. I feel like it's like Malfoy's little sidekicks in Harry Potter. No one knows which one is which.
Oh, Panic's the blue one. Pain is the pink purple one.
If you enjoy listening to our show, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We love reading your reviews out loud, and you might even be featured on a future podcast episode. We have a community spotlight on our Instagram at Stride Sisters Podcast. If you want to be featured for a Metal Monday, Finish Line Friday, or any accomplishment you want to celebrate, send us a picture via our social media platforms or our email. And to continue the fun, join us on our Facebook page. All the ways to connect with us can be found in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Until our next adventure, we're wishing you endless miles of magic and memories. See you next time.
All right.
My mom's kind of dog likes to bark, so you're good.
Perfect. It's like the same exact thing. It's like a tornado. Also, I feel like Wednesdays are just like that in general, like throughout the week. Like your Wednesday is always like a crazy day. Anyway, okay. I'll just introduce myself. Sorry. Okay. I want to say something that you need to bleep out. This should be a blooper episode, or it's just
I mean, it might be at the end.
Listen. We
I like
invited.
secret sounds.